So great. I'm delighted that we've negotiated the software and we're all here on virtual Arable Scotland. So my name's McKee. I'm a researcher at the James Hutton Institute and I'm also the hub coach for the NEFERTITI project in Scotland. So that means that I'm the facilitator of the activities that happen here under the NEFERTITI project. And I'm really pleased to welcome Ben McClymont to our virtual booth this afternoon. And Ben is currently the trainee farm manager at Preston Hall Farm. And he's been in the post for 1 year, I believe, after returning from work experience in New Zealand, that hopefully we'll hear more about. New Zealand or Australia, I forget. But originally the son of a dairy farmer, Ben has shifted over to arable production. So he's also fully involved in the other events of Arable Scotland today. But maybe, Ben, we can ask you just to start off to say where you are, because you're live on farm at Preston Hall. If you can just tell us where you are and what's behind you, please.
So, yeah, afternoon, everybody, or if it is afternoon yet. I'm currently standing on Preston Hall Farms on our home farm, Rosemains, in a field of winter wheat, looking back towards East Lothian behind me. And it is a glorious day, thankfully, but it's quite muggy, so there's plenty of flies out, so apologies if you see me swatting them, not squatting, swatting them every now and then. But again, it is a glorious day for this and Arable Scotland.
Yes, thanks, Ben. I mean, it's a shame that we're not actually in person because it would have been a great Arable Scotland day out. And we all have a bit of a delay on the screen, myself, Ben, and my colleague Tami Stevenson, who is also part of the NEFERTITI team, because we're all at distance. So apologies to viewers and participants if we run into each other slightly. But I just want to ask you, Ben, a bit more about where you're from and what you do now, and how different it is from growing up on a dairy farm to what you find yourself doing on a day-to-day basis now.
Yeah, so I grew up in Dumfriesshire. My father's actually a farm manager at a dairy research farm, Picton Royal. So that was quite a different farming background, should I say. I've seen quite a lot of goings on and various different projects over my childhood at home, and really enjoyed farming and dairy farming, and I also had a love for machinery and a real interest in playing with toys is probably what people used to say. So probably that is maybe what took me more to arable farming, and machinery plays quite a large role on an arable farm. So certainly that is where an interest of mine is. But yeah, day-to-day running of an arable farm compared to a dairy farm is quite different. I used to, when I was at home, we'd be up at 3 in the morning to milk cows. I certainly don't have to get up at 3 in the morning now, which is quite nice, if I'm honest. But still, dairy farming and arable farming is equally, you're just as busy, albeit at different times of the year. Maybe a more constant on dairy farms, but certainly I was having actually a discussion this morning about our harvest time. Yeah, our busy work is consolidated to a sort of shorter period, but that short period we're working incredibly hard. And yeah, I enjoy both, but as I say, I'm on an arable farm now, and I thoroughly enjoy this sector within agriculture.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. And can you tell us a bit more about how you've ended up doing what you're doing? Can you tell us what the pathway was from, leaving school, or what you studied at university or college, and then how you've ended up at Preston Hall, please?
Yeah, so I did my 6 years at school, at secondary school. I'd always planned to go away and do agriculture at university, albeit that it wasn't really encouraged at school. I remember vividly sitting in my higher maths class, and my maths teacher more or less told me I was wasting his time because I was going into agriculture, and why on earth am I staying to do higher maths? Which I had a good old argument with him, and we didn't see eye to eye from then on, but I still got my higher maths, which was fortunate. But yeah, agriculture wasn't really pushed at school, so I still went on to university and did my degree in agriculture at SRUC Edinburgh, Chose to go to Edinburgh and do a broad agricultural degree, keeping it as broad as possible. I didn't want to specialise in anything because at that point I had no idea where I wanted to be and what I wanted to be doing. But I knew the agricultural industry is what I loved and was passionate about, so that's what I did. And then graduating, I can't remember. I graduated whenever it was, 2 years ago now. I graduated on the Friday in Edinburgh, yeah, and then jumped on a plane on the Saturday and headed off to Australia and New Zealand, and had a year out there travelling and working on various different farms, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And I would encourage anybody coming out of university, or even that doesn't go to university, anybody to travel. I learned so much about global agriculture, and even so much about myself on farm on other parts of the world, and it was just truly fantastic. And then I came home. I knew that my fiancée now was waiting at home for me, and so I thought I'd better come home and say hello to her. I then had a panic. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? So I had a brief period with a fantastic company, Watson Seeds. Johnny Watson offered me, or gave me, an opportunity to go along with his business, and I had a great time. I had 6 months with Johnny, but it wasn't for me, and I openly admit that I was desperate to get back on farm and do a more practical based role and sit on a machine or just do some more practical farm work. So unfortunately, I parted ways with Watson Seeds, and I then had another panic. Where am I going? What am I doing? And actually, by chance, I tweeted. I can't remember what it was now, but it was something along the lines, "My goodness, where am I going? What am I doing?" And my current manager, Bill Gray, happened to message me back and say, "Well, actually, we might have an opportunity." I'd met Bill a wee while ago when Preston Hall was a monitor farm, and I'd thoroughly enjoyed a couple of visits here, and him and I had sort of stayed in contact from then, and I knew that the opportunity here would be something worth really pursuing. So Bill and I entered into some discussions, and here I am today as trainee farms manager, learning as much as I can about arable farming and the processes that are involved at Preston Hall.
Great. Thanks, Ben. That was super helpful. And Tami's got some more questions for you.
Yep. So as you know, the Nefertiti project in Scotland aims to inspire young and new people to seek an agricultural career. What was it specifically that inspired you to pursue an agricultural career? Was it the combination of, your love for machinery and your past experience, or anything else?
I don't think there's any one thing that inspired me to agriculture, other than a love for the industry, and farmers, or Scottish farmers, British farmers. We do so much for our countryside, and I don't know. That's a hard question. I should have done some more thinking about this question. But I grew up as a farmer's son. Agriculture was a huge part of my life and my farming family at home. So being involved with young farmers, going off to university to study agriculture, it wasn't always something I was going to do, but it's something I love, and I couldn't see myself really doing anything else. And I think the industry has a lot to give. We're so fortunate. Well, I'm standing here just now on a glorious day, and I think this year highlighted more so how fortunate I am, how fortunate we within agriculture are. Our industry didn't stop. If anything, we were busier. We were out on farm every day, thankfully weren't cooped up in a house somewhere. We need farmers. We need people within agriculture. I've probably really not answered your question, but a love for the industry is probably what brought me to it, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And I think you've already mentioned a few already, but what opportunities have you taken advantage of, and what would you recommend to new entrants or young farmers?
definitely, young farmers played a huge part of my life, socially and educationally. I'm on the National Committee for the Agri and Rural Affairs Committee, and we do a lot for engaging with various industry bodies, engaging with different farmers, different businesses that I have learned so much from, and I haven't been involved since I was 14. I've had a long wee while now to pick the brains of people and learn a lot. You get to sit around tables with people that you really wouldn't expect to, and you can learn a huge amount from that. Another opportunity is I think there's a lot to be said for going away and studying, and going away from home and studying. You learn a lot about yourself, and it pushes you out of your comfort zone. I mentioned before also traveling. That's another opportunity that if you get the opportunity to get around the world, it doesn't have to be globally, just to a different part of the UK and just see how other farms work, and also take opportunities. This was an opportunity at Preston Hall that I didn't see on the horizon whatsoever, and it fell upon me that, oh God, that could work, that could be really good. Here I am a year down the line, thoroughly enjoying it, learning a huge amount, and if it hadn't been for just happened to speaking to Bill once before, that opportunity would never have came. So it's just put yourself out there, go to meetings, go to everything and anything really, and just speak to people. You learn so much from speaking to people, I think.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. And my last question is, so what barriers remain for others trying to enter the agricultural industry, and what further help and support is necessary?
A huge barrier, I think, is experience. People, or you come out of, or even before you go to university or college or anything, is getting experience is hard, really hard. You apply for a job. What experience have you got? Well, I don't really have that much because I need to learn. Oh, well, we can't give you a job because you don't have enough experience. And this goes on and on and on. So I put it to both farmers and business owners that you have to give people a chance. You're not going to get experience unless somebody gives you that first chance. And I remember I was 14, I started, I've been at home ever since, and then it wasn't 14, it would be 16, never got my tractor license. I was out, somebody, thankfully, a contractor down in Dumfriesshire gave me the chance to spend a summer with them, and you learn a bit more, and then it gives you the skills to go on that next step and a step further. So it's really difficult to get experience, but try and get as much experience as you can. So I would say that, yeah, a barrier and an opportunity. I can't remember, what was the final part of the question?
It was just what further help and support is necessary.
There needs to be a lot more opportunity within our industry for collaboration within businesses, to let young people, a lot of younger folk, I think personally, want more than just a salary. You want to feel involved in the business, or even be getting a share of the business. Share farming, contract farming are huge in New Zealand, and I came home thinking that is something that our industry, we're well behind the times in that. Going forward, I think there'll be a lot more opportunities like that, because we've got an aging population of farmers, and not enough young coming on to take on the businesses. So I think things like the Scottish Land Matching Service is a fantastic service that links retiring farmers and young farmers that are desperate to get on in their career. And going forward, I think there needs to be a lot more of that, to make the link between somebody like myself that is desperate to be farming, and somebody that's at the end of their career. Yeah, I don't know if that's answered.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I'll pass back to Annie now.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, you covered like so many different areas of agricultural policy and kind of bigger questions there, that there's lots to be thought about from a policy perspective as well, how to encourage young people. I guess my follow-up from Tami's is there specific financial support that you can see that would help young people to get into agricultural careers, or is it more about the range of opportunities and the kind of mindsets of people who are along your way, your path? I'm thinking of that higher maths teacher, for instance. Is there something more there that needs to change to support young people into agriculture?
I don't think cash is the answer, because how do you fund who gets what, and then there's you go down a slippery slope when you start handing out money. And it's happened. There's been young farmers grants which have been fantastic, but me being very cynical in a way, it's often been that it helped existing farmers get bigger, and it helped a lot of fantastic new young farmers and new entrants, but it's very difficult to differentiate between and get the right funding for the right people and so on. So I think it's difficult. It's more about mindset change and teaching of methods. I don't know how to word that, but people need to. I don't know what I'm trying to say now. I went off on a tangent.
I think your point is that there are opportunities that are unseen in agriculture, and maybe it's about bringing it all together. And your point about the land matching service is really interesting as well, because it shows that it's about the relationship. So again, what I've heard from you is the importance of going and speaking to people, being in places, meeting, like seeing things firsthand, getting experience. So there's the relationship side there that we need to support, maybe more than giving money or funding initiatives.
There needs to be encouragement not encouragement to push farmers out, but there's a lot of older farmers now within businesses that don't want to give up. Which is very difficult for young people coming in, because there's not the opportunities. There was in the press recently that down in England they were going to pay to retire farmers. Whether that's the right thing or wrong thing, I'm not sure. But that, in a way, is a great opportunity for young people to get on. It will bring tenancies to the market. It will bring share farming, contract farming agreements forward, because people will not be the people managing those businesses, so there'll need to be younger people to take them on. So I think things like that's a step in the right road, the right direction.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I've got a bit more of a slant question about what we do in the Nefertiti project. And as you know, the project's aim is to support on-farm and virtual demonstration events. And you have ticked all our boxes this afternoon, Ben, by being on our farm and virtual. So thank you for that. But the aim is to support peer-to-peer learning. So hearing from people like yourself and sharing that information with other people who want to learn directly from your experience. And I was just wondering, you mentioned about visiting the Monitor Farm, Preston Hall, when it was a Monitor Farm. But I wonder if there's one farm visit from your school days, your college days, or general life, or a demonstration event that has stuck in your memory. And what was it about being there and at that event that was really helpful to you? And therefore, what kind of demonstration events should we be supporting in the future or helping farmers to provide?
Oh, good question. I really enjoy things like the Monitor Farm project. I don't think I can count one meeting, if I'm totally honest, that stands out as a standout I've been to, or a range of meetings that I think are really worthwhile, say, are the likes of the Monitor Farm meeting, meetings where you get an involvement in the business, you get to hear the financials, you get a really good discussion with farmers and how businesses are run, and then benchmarking with other businesses. If you can have a sit down around the table or a presentation from a farmer that's willing to open up their business to that degree, then you can learn a huge amount. And often I feel then the farmer or the person presenting can learn a lot. It becomes a two-way discussion. I wasn't part of Preston Hall when it was a Monitor Farm. It finished the year I came, the project, albeit there is a legacy project running on now. But speaking with my manager, my line manager, Bill Gray, I hear of the projects that went on during the Monitor Farm project and the amount or how the business has developed from then, and what Bill has learned and what Peter Eccles at Scotland has learned. There's a huge amount, and collaborating together and bringing an open book approach to meetings, I think, is really worthwhile.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as a young person, is there something you're specifically looking for at an event like that? Like, for instance, time to do actual practical hands-on work, or just time to talk to the older farmer, or the advisor that might be along. What's helpful to you as a trainee in those situations?
I had a really interesting young farmers meeting once before, where we sat down. I can't remember the name. There was an advisor. It was a dairy-based meeting, and we sat down and worked out a budget. We did financials, which, albeit I was younger then and I hadn't been away to university, but we had no idea how to do that. And to learn that sitting around with peers was really fantastic.
Yeah. That's really helpful. Just thinking about how we can go forward with the Nefertiti Hub in Scotland, what would be most useful to people like yourselves and people who are thinking about agriculture as a career, what might be an inroad to that. And actually we have some early plans for doing a financial focused event. So thanks for inspiring me that. And I noticed that in the chat, Alan Young from the Scottish Land Matching Service has joined, and he's just really glad to hear your thoughts, Ben. And he's keen to follow up with you to talk more about these sorts of issues. And I was just wondering to draw our conversation to a close, if you'd like to reflect a bit more on the future of the agricultural industry in Scotland. So you're just at the beginning of your career, looking ahead, 30, 40 years, I know maybe 50 years, what do you hope to see it be like for you and your peers?
I hope to see a lot more opportunity. There has to be going forward. There will be a lot of change in our industry, which I think will bring about. Change is good, so it will bring about opportunities for young people.
Yeah.
But as an industry, I think we need to be doing a lot more. Not to sell ourselves, to sell ourselves in a way, but public engagement. We really need to be selling our story. That we do a good job. Agriculturists, we get quite a slating is maybe not the right word, but we're often bad press. But we do a incredibly good job in this country, and we really need to sing our praises more. We need to be helping. Well, education. I had a bad experience within agriculture at school. We really need to change that. Agriculture should be high on the curriculum at school, I would think. RET, the Royal Highland Education Trust, does a fantastic job at teaching and helping to teach young people. Again, there needs to be more of that, so that going forward we actually inspire young people to come into our industry. Because we don't have a huge amount of people coming into agriculture, and we need people to make the industry work. So I don't know. I'm very positive about the future of industry, and well, if we weren't, we wouldn't be doing it. So I am positive there will be change, and change will bring opportunities. And I think it's younger people. You need to seize any opportunities that come your way.